How to crochet an easy beginner motif cowl. This project features 4 balls of Be So Tender yarn. Download the free pattern at my website. The link to both the yarn and the pattern are in the video description. We're going to be using a size J crochet hook today, which is also considered a 6mm, and I'm going to be keeping my yarn needle and scissors handy because for this project I do think that there is some satisfaction in weaving in the ends as we go. We're going to start with the first round of the first motif, and at this point you can choose any of the 4 colors to begin. We're going to tie the yarn onto our crochet hook, and you may do this in any way that you prefer. Some people prefer a slip knot, some people prefer a solid knot. Whichever works best for you is totally fine, and we're going to start with a chain 5. And then we're going to slip stitch into the 5th chain from our hook. We don't count the loop on our crochet hook, that's our working loop. So we're going to count back 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and slip stitch into that 5th chain from the hook. We now have a chain 5 ring, and that's where we're going to be placing all of our stitches in round 1. Chain 3. This counts as our first double crochet, and we're going to work a double crochet into the ring. Yarn over your hook, insert your hook in the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. That's 1 double crochet. So the chain 3 counted as our first double crochet, and this counts as our second double crochet. We're going to do a 3rd one in the ring. Okay, so that counts as 3 double crochets now. Chain 3. And we're going to work 3 more double crochets in the same ring. Chain 3, and work 3 more double crochets in the same ring. You notice how I'm carrying my starting tail around with the chain 5 ring? That way I'm eating over, or not eating, sometimes I call it eating, we're working over it with the ring so that we are already weaving this end in as we go. Okay, now we have 3 sets of 3 double crochet, chain 3, and we're going to work our 4th and final set of 3 double crochets in the ring. Chain 3, and we're going to slip stitch to the first double crochet at the beginning of the round to join. Our first double crochet was actually a chain 3, so you want to count up to the 3rd or the top chain of that chain 3, and we're going to slip stitch into the top of it just like we would if it were a regular double crochet. This is what the end of round 1 should look like. We change color at the end of every round, so we're going to cut our yarn and fasten off. Now I know it's very tempting to leave all your ends until the end, but I do think that it is a better idea to weave them in as we go, because you'll not only have that task will be, you know, diluted throughout the project so it doesn't seem so daunting, doesn't take so long, and also your project will look prettier as you're going as well, which is a reward in itself. So first I'm going to weave in my ends, and you want to just kind of weave it back and forth into the knot structure of the stitches. And I'm going to go in one direction, then back in another direction. It's really important that you switch your direction when you're weaving in ends, because that way it's harder for the end to naturally come back out on its own. And then anytime you can get it into a cluster of stitches like this, this is very secure. And if you can pick up in any of the threads of that starting chain inside that cluster of stitches, that's also very secure. So we're going to go in one direction and then go back through in another direction. Now you want to make sure you don't pick up this, back in from the same place you came out, otherwise it will undo your work. So I skip the first piece of yarn and go back in the other direction after that. And that is now a very secure woven in end. And we'll cut these. Okay, so now we have round one done. We're ready to begin round two of our first motif. So we're going to tie our yarn back onto our crochet hook. And slip stitch to join in any one of the chain 3 spaces. Chain 3, which counts as a double crochet. I'm going to wrap my tail underneath so that I'm working it in as I crochet into this chain 3 space. So I'm holding it with the chain 3 space. We're going to work a double crochet in that same space. And another double crochet. Chain 3. Three more double crochets in the same space. Okay, so in each of the chain 3 spaces we're going to work 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 double crochets. It's just this first one where the first double crochet is actually a chain 3 that counts as a double. So for the rest of the round we're going to skip the next 3 stitches and work 3 doubles, chain 3, 3 doubles in the next chain 3 space. We're going to skip the next 3 stitches and do the same thing in the next chain 3 space. 3 doubles, chain 3, 3 doubles. Skip the next 3 stitches and work in the next chain 3 space. We're going to work 3 doubles, chain 3, 3 doubles. And we're going to slip stitch to join in the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. And that's what the second round and finished motif looks like when it's not being joined to any other motifs. With this next motif, I'm going to show you how to create this second round and join it to a second motif on a one-sided join. So we're going to start by tying our yarn onto our crochet hook. And slip stitch to join in any of the chain 3 spaces. Chain 3, which counts as a double crochet in the ring, double crochet again in the ring, chain 3, three more double crochets in the same ring, okay, now in this corner and this corner, I'm going to join it to this motif in this corner and this corner. So we're going to start by skipping the next 3 stitches, and work 3 double crochets in the next chain 3 space. Okay, now we would normally be doing chain 3 and 3 more doubles in that space. And we're going to replace our chain 3 with a chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, and then continue on in our corner. So chain 1, slip stitch into the chain 3 space, the center chain of that chain 3 space on the adjacent motif, chain 1, and then coming back in our working motif, working 3 more double crochets in that same chain 3 space. And I'm going to set this down now so you can see what we did. Okay, so move my crochet hook too. Okay, so in our first corner, we did 3 doubles, chain 3, 3 doubles. In our second corner, because we were joining it to another motif, we did 3 doubles, chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, and 3 doubles in the corner. So now that chain 3 space is replicated with a chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1. It ends up being the same size, so it's the same shaped corner, but now it's joined to the other motif without having to use any sewing or any other techniques. We're just doing it as we go, which is a brilliant way to join motifs. We're now going to slip stitch into the space between the 2 corners on the adjacent motif. We didn't do a stitch here, but we're going to slip stitch to join it in the side. So I'm going to pick up my work again and insert my crochet hook into that space between this set of 3 double crochets and this set. Just in that big space, we're going to grab my yarn in the right way. We're going to insert our crochet hook into that big space and just pull the yarn all the way through for a slip stitch. And I'll set this down again so you can see. So now we've joined in this side in 2 places. Now we're ready to begin our next corner on our working motif, and we're going to do it the same way we did that first corner. So I'm going to pick up my yarn and get started. We're going to start with 3 double crochets in that next chain 3 space. Okay, and now instead of a chain 3, we're going to chain 1, slip stitch into the center of the 3 chains in the adjacent motif, turn back, chain 1. So we did chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, and now we'll work 3 more double crochets in that same chain 3 space. And I'll set it down again so you can see where we're at. Okay, so we joined in this corner, we joined in this side, and we joined in this corner. So now to finish up this motif, we'll do our last corner with 3 doubles, chain 3, 3 doubles, because it doesn't need to join to anything else. So we're now going to skip our 3 double crochets, and in the next chain 3 space work 3 doubles, chain 3, three doubles, and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round to join. Fasten off. And now we have 2 motifs completed and joined as we go. So we did this motif first, then we came and did this motif, and as we came around, we joined it in the corners and on the side to the adjacent motif. And this is what, in the crochet world of patterns, this is what we would call a one-sided join. Further along in the video, I'm going to show you how to do a two-sided join as well. But for this portion, this is called a one-sided join, because each of these squares has 4 sides, but we only joined on one side. Okay, we're going to do another motif, one-sided join. So slip stitch to any chain 3 space to get started. Work 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet in the first chain 3 space. Okay, and we're going to join in this corner to this motif, which means we're going to be joining in that same spot that the 2 of them were joined in before. So we're going to start with 3 doubles. And now we're going to chain 1, slip stitch into that same chain where these 2 were joined. Remember how I said that in the corners we join into the center chain of the chain 3 space instead of just in the chain 3 space? It was so that when we come back and work additional ones in there, we get a really clean join. So you want to pay attention to which one was joined into which one. The seafoam green one was done first, and the cloud or cream colored one was slip stitched into that one. So we want to try to get to the original. So we're going to insert our crochet hook there and slip stitch, chain 1. So we did a chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, come back and work 3 more doubles in that same chain 3 space on our working motif. Okay, we're now going to slip stitch into the space between the 2 sets of 3 double crochets on the adjacent motif so that we're joining in the side. Come back to our working motif and work 3 double crochets in the next chain 3 space. Chain 1, slip stitch into the center chain of the chain 3 space on the adjacent motif, chain 1, and then come back and finish that corner with 3 more doubles in the same chain 3 space. Skip the next 3 doubles, and in the last chain 3 space work 3 doubles, chain 3, 3 doubles.
skip the last 3 double crochets and slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round to join and fasten off. Now you'll see we've done another one-sided join, but we've done it a little bit differently in the respect that we joined into a corner which was already joined into. So now we're creating a really beautiful tight corner where they're all being joined into the same chain, which as far as I'm concerned, I think it's the prettiest way to join in corners. On the side, it doesn't matter as much. You can join right into the big holes because they're only joined into one time. But anytime you're joining more than once, I think it looks absolutely gorgeous to make sure they join all in the same chain, because it's just a nice tight join and it's just visually pleasing to the eye, in my opinion. So now this is what the end of our third motif looks like, and we've joined on one side for 3 motifs. In the next section, I'm going to show you how to create a motif here and join it with a 2-sided join. Okay, we're ready to begin our 4th and final motif with a 2-sided join. We've already completed the first round, and now we're going to slip stitch into our first corner, chain 3, and double crochet in the same chain 3 space, and double crochet again in the same chain 3 space. And in this first corner, we're going to start joining. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch into the center of the chain 3 in this corner here. Slip stitch, then chain 1, and then coming back into our working motif, work 3 more double crochets in that same corner. We're now going to slip stitch into the side on this motif in that big open space between this set of 3 double crochets and this set. So just slip stitch right into that big space. And then working back in our working motif, we're going to work, actually let me set this down so you can see what I just did. It gets a little cumbersome picking it up, so it's not easy to see on camera. So I'll just show you what I did. I joined in this corner, 3 double crochets, chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, 3 doubles, and then I slip stitched to the side of the adjacent motif in that big open space. And now I'm ready to begin my next corner on my working motif, and we're going to be joining in the center right here where those other 3 motifs are already joined together. So we're going to pick up our work, and now in our working motif's next corner, work 3 doubles, chain 1, then we're going to slip stitch into that same chain that all 3 motifs were already joined into, chain 1, so that chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1 counts as our chain 3 space. Work 3 more doubles in the same chain 3 space in our working motif. Set it down so you can see where we're at. Okay, so we have one sided joined. We're now coming along here and we're going to slip stitch to join in the side of this motif, just in that open space between the 2 corners. Okay, so that's joined. Now we're ready to work this corner and we're going to join it to this corner. So we're going to start on our working motif with 3 double crochets in the next chain 3 space. Chain 1, slip stitch into the center chain of the chain 3 space on our adjacent motif, chain 1, and back in our working motif work 3 more doubles in that same chain 3 space, and set our work down again. Okay, we're joined on two sides, and now we just need to finish up our round. So now we're going to come around in our last chain 3 space, work 3 doubles, chain 3, 3 doubles. And slip stitch to the first stitch at the beginning of the round to join, which is the top of the chain 3. And now we have a two-sided join. So we started this motif here. Well, let's see, where did we start? We started here. We joined in this corner, in this side, in this corner, in this side, in this corner, and then came around and finished it up. And before we finish, I really want to just show you again how beautiful that corner looks when they're all joined together in the same chain. Isn't that beautiful? It's definitely worth the extra effort to work into the chain instead of the space. Okay, so for this wrap, what I did was rows of 4, and I just did that on and on and on, but I chose 2 color sequences for every other row. So we had the cloud in the center and blush on the outside, mushroom in the center, and seafoam on the outside for this whole row. Then the whole next row was seafoam on the inside, blush on the inside, seafoam on the inside, blush on the inside, and this was so it's the opposite, it's the same 2 colors. So notice cloud and blush are always together, and seafoam and mushroom are always together. But in this row of motifs, we put cloud and mushroom in the centers, and then in this row of motifs, I did seafoam and blush in the centers. And then this is the pattern that I repeat throughout the entire project. I find that making a pattern out of the color sequences actually is a design in itself and is a pattern in itself. You could do this more randomly. I mean, you could do this in any number of ways. You could do this all in one color. You could do this where the outside rounds are all one color and it's different colors in the center. You could do the centers all in one color and do the outside rounds in different colors. I mean, or you could just randomly do all different colors throughout as a stash buster. There's all different ways that you can do color sequencing, but I found that changing colors minimally, so we have 4 colors, but we have 8 sequences, so our pattern is this 8 square repeat, and you see that those 8 squares are what I repeated throughout the entire wrap. And you can see it really does maintain a specific pattern that way. I absolutely love it. Now, should you want to make this into a cowl, there's a couple of ways that we can join this short side to make it into a gigantic cowl. I've already folded the whole thing in half, and you could either go in with a yarn needle and a long piece of yarn, and you could sew right up this whole edge, sewing this side to this side as we go. Or we could join it with motifs. Now, the way you would join motifs now is that you would be joining them in that, doing that last round, you're going to join one-sided join here, and then join one-sided here. So it's two-sided join, working in all 4 corners, but working on joining one side at a time on 2 opposite sides of the motif. And then on the next motif and every one going forward, it would then be a 3-sided join. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do that now. If this seems too advanced for you, by all means, go in and sew up here or add a couple of buttons. There are lots of easy ways to do this as well, but I thought, what the heck, let's do it the hard way, just in case you're curious and want to see how it's done. So I've started this motif, started the corner, And we're now ready to join to our first corner. So I've got my first 3 doubles done, chain 1, and join in the first corner. Okay, we're now going to work in our next chain 3 space on our working motif. Chain 1, and then now working in a, oops, I forgot to join in the side. Hold on, let me back that up. We're going to, we did our first corner, finished up with our 3 doubles. We're now going to slip stitch into the side of that same adjacent motif. And now working our next corner, work 3 doubles. Chain 1, join in the same join of the next corner with a slip stitch, chain 1, come back in our working motif and work 3 more doubles in the same chain 3 space. And you'll see now that we have one side joined. Now we're going to join these 2 corners on this motif here. So now coming along on our working motif, 3 doubles in the next chain 3 space. Chain 1, slip stitch into the next corner, chain, center corner on the next corner of the adjacent motif, chain 1, 3 doubles in the same chain 3 space in our working motif. And then slip stitch into the side hole on the adjacent motif, and then now work our last corner on our working motif with 3 doubles. Chain 1, slip stitch into the center chain of the corner on the adjacent motif, chain 1. We're going to finish up with 3 doubles in our same chain 3 space on the working motif. And slip stitch to join in the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. And fasten off. So now we have our first motif joined, and it's a 2-sided join, but where we're joining on this side and this side, opposite sides of the motif. And funny enough that we actually use all 4 corners for joining on this one. In the next section, I'm going to show you how to join a 3-sided join. Okay, I turned this around so that it's in the right positioning now for working our next motif. So this is the one that we just did. It's just turned around now. And now we're going to be joining 3-sided in this space. I've started my motif already, and I've done the first 3 double crochets, or the chain 3 and 2 doubles to start my first corner. And we're going to chain 1, and we're going to start by joining here. We're going to be working counterclockwise. So we're starting in this corner here, and we're going to slip stitch. Chain 1, and then back on our working motif, work 3 double crochets. Okay, we're now going to slip stitch into that space in the side of the adjacent motif. Okay, I'll set it back down so you can see we've joined in the corner and in the side. We're now ready to begin our next corner on our working motif, and we're going to join it to this corner here on the adjacents. So we'll start with 3 doubles. Chain 1, and now into that corner here where the other motifs are joined, we're going to join in that same chain right in the corner with a slip stitch, chain 1. Working back in our working motif, we're going to work 3 more doubles in that same corner. Okay, we'll set it down so you can see where we're at. We've joined in this corner, on this side, and this corner. So now we are ready to join in this side. With a slip stitch. And now we're ready to work in the next corner on our working motif. We'll start it with 3 doubles. Chain 1, slip stitch into the same center chain in the corner of these motifs, chain 1, 3 more doubles in our same corner on our working motif, set it down so you can see we're now joined in 3 corners, and on 2 sides we're going to join now in the side of this 3rd sided join. Right in that big hole we're going to work a slip stitch, okay, and now we're ready to complete our last corner and join it to the corner join on these 2 motifs here. So we'll come back in our working yarn, our working motif, work 3 doubles, chain 1, slip stitch into that same center join of the 2 motifs adjacent, chain 1, work 3 doubles again in our same chain 3 space on our working motif, and slip stitch to join in the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. And fasten off. So now we've done, oh, isn't that great? We've taken this simple motif and joined it on 3 sides, in all 4 of the corners actually, but done a 3-sided join. And this is what you'll do for the last 2 motifs to create this gigantic, gorgeous cowl from joining motifs as we go. If you have any questions about this project, by all means leave them for me in the comments.
And please subscribe to my channel for more videos.